Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into what is honestly a silent epidemic. We're talking about a really profound kind of isolation. But the wild thing is, it's hiding right in plain sight. It is completely camouflaged by competence, career success, and big smiles. We are unpacking the invisible weight of high-functioning loneliness. Look, it's a massive burden to carry around, but just understanding how it works is the very first step to finally putting it down. So let's just get right into it.
You know the type, right? The strong friend. Picture her. She's the one who is literally laughing the hardest at the party tonight. She's cracking jokes all evening, actively checking in on like 3 different friends to make sure that they are doing okay, and then she leaves. To everyone else in that room, she's the absolute life of the party. She's the glue holding the whole group together, the person who just has life totally figured out. But, well, the story doesn't actually end when she walks out the front door.
She gets out to her car, and she just sits there, just sitting in a dark parking lot for 20 minutes before she can even muster the energy to put the key in the ignition and drive home. Why? Because the exact second that social performance ended, so did the very thing keeping her upright. The sheer amount of energy required to maintain that flawless, everything is great facade has just completely depleted her. See, when we talk about loneliness, we've kind of been trained to picture it all wrong. We imagine someone eating alone in an empty apartment, staring at a phone that never rings. But high-functioning loneliness? It is way quieter, and it is so much more common. It doesn't look like sadness at all. It actually looks like extreme competence. It's the person everybody else leans on. Because loneliness, as it turns out, was never really about how many people are physically around you. It's about that massive aching gap between how connected you look on the outside and how connected you actually feel on the inside.
Somewhere along the way, a whole lot of us learned a really dangerous lesson. We learned that being needed is way safer than being known. Think about it. Being needed gives you a guaranteed role. If you're always the problem solver, you always have a seat at the table, right? But being known, that requires vulnerability, and vulnerability carries this huge, terrifying risk of rejection. If someone actually sees the parts of you that aren't fine, well, they might leave. So you build this performance. You get praised for being low maintenance or super easygoing, and what starts as a simple choice quickly mutates into this exhausting identity where every single interaction feels like a full-time job.
Okay, so who is actually most at risk here? It's the therapists, it's the caretakers, it's the friend who always has the perfect advice, or the sibling who is literally holding the entire family together single-handedly. We're talking about highly capable, incredibly emotionally intelligent people. And hey, if you're hearing this list right now and your chest just tightened up a little bit, I really need you to hear this. You are not broken. You aren't defective. This is literally just your nervous system doing exactly what it learned to do years ago to keep you safe. Keep the mask on, keep the peace, don't be a burden. But here is the absolute cruelest irony at the center of high-functioning loneliness. The better you get at appearing fine, the less anyone checks in on whether you actually are. Your loved ones aren't blind, and they aren't purposely ignoring you. They are just reading the only signals you're giving them. You are broadcasting, hey, I've got this, so they believe you. Why wouldn't they? You've never given them a single reason not to. The exact skill that you develop to protect yourself from rejection is the very thing guaranteeing your isolation.
Which brings us to a really vital question. What is the actual true cost of always being fine? We so often think of loneliness as just this sad emotional state, a temporary mood that we can just tough out. But the reality is way more alarming than just feeling a little down. The toll this daily performance takes goes so far beyond just your emotions.
Chronic loneliness is a severe physical experience. When you are constantly performing, your body is footing the bill for that lie. It literally leads to elevated stress hormones just coursing through your veins all day. It completely disrupts your sleep architecture. It weakens your immune response, basically making you physically sick. It even alters how your brain processes social threats. The longer you convince the world that you are perfectly fine, the more your body quietly, desperately absorbs the physical damage of that well-intentioned lie. So, if this pattern is that common and the physical and emotional cost is that incredibly high, why on earth does it keep happening? Why is it so impossibly hard to just stop? Well, the honest answer is that breaking the cycle requires doing something that feels deeply, terrifyingly unnatural to someone who has spent their whole life being the reliable one. It requires letting someone see you not have it all together. You see, you've built your entire sense of safety around never needing anyone. But here is the truth that totally dismantles that old belief. Vulnerability doesn't repel the people who actually matter. It's the very thing that finally lets them in.
Real connection was never, ever built on two perfect people who both have it totally together. True connection is built on that precise moment when one person drops the mask, says, "Man, I do not have it together right now," and the other person stays anyway.
So how do we actually get there? We use what we call the one-sense solution. You do not fix high-functioning loneliness with some massive, dramatic, crying confession. Nope, you fix it with micro-moments. Step 1. Wait for someone who genuinely cares about you to ask how you're doing this week. Step 2. Catch yourself before you fire off that automatic "I'm fine." And Step 3. Answer with just one honest, totally low-stakes sentence. Something like, "Honestly, I'm actually pretty overwhelmed today." That's it. Let the mask slip just a fraction of an inch. When you do that and the world doesn't spontaneously end, your nervous system finally starts to realize that this exhausting performance is actually optional.
Listen, if you've been watching this explainer and you recognize yourself in these patterns, it's time to take a real step toward being truly known. Hit that subscribe button and become part of our community. We are building a massive, growing group of people who are officially done performing okay and are ready to experience the actual relief of genuine connection. You seriously don't have to carry this invisible weight alone anymore.
And I want to ask you for a really small favor right now. Smash the like button on this explainer if you have ever, even just once, said "I'm fine" when you absolutely were not. Just hit the button. Let that simple physical action be a quiet validation of your own internal experience. It is a super low barrier way to just acknowledge to yourself that, yeah, you know exactly what this mask feels like.
Next, let's build some real momentum and create a ripple effect. Jump into the comments right now and just type "I see you." Dedicate that comment to someone in your life who always seems okay. You know, the friend who organizes all the dinners, the sibling who mediates the family fights, the coworker who always remembers the birthdays. Let's completely fill the comments with recognition for the strong friends who so rarely get checked on.
And finally, share this explainer with that exact person today. Just send them the link. Because the people who seem the strongest, the most capable, the most resilient, they are so incredibly often the ones nobody ever even thinks to check on. This single explainer, this one specific message, might literally be the exact lifeline they need today to realize they are allowed to finally put that heavy armor down.
I want to leave you with this one final, powerful thought. You are not required to have it together all the time to be worth loving. Really let that sink in. The people in your life who are actually worth keeping around will eagerly prove that to you, but only the moment you give them the chance to see the real you. So, what would happen if you let the mask slip just a little bit today?